Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, November 29th. I know it's Record Store Day, Black Friday, but there are a bunch of non-RSD titles that are coming out this week also. A little over 400 albums getting released this week. I got 10 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. So like I said in the intro, yes, it is RSD Black Friday, but there's a bunch of non-RSD titles coming out this week also, including a couple of really big albums. But, I'm only going to talk about 10 on the show, so there's something I don't talk about. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section. You can also always go over to the Vinyl Den store on Amazon. There's pre-orders on there. There's new releases, a bunch of other cool stuff to check out. So I think the big non-RSD title that's coming out this week is Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets Department, the Anthology. So she released this album back on April 19th. It was the day before RSD. And then like several hours later, she released the Anthology version of it, which completely doubled the amount of songs on the album. So this is a 4 LP release. It's going to run you about $60. This is going to be a Target exclusive here in the US. I'm sure it's going to be available outside the US also, though. It's going to be on translucent marble vinyl. It's got 35 songs across the 4 LPs. You're also getting 5 additional bonus tracks on here. They're 5 acoustic tracks. So you got acoustic versions of Fortnite, Down Bad, But Daddy I Love Him, and Guilty as Sin on here. It took me a while to warm up to this album. It took me like a solid probably 4 or 5 listens before I really started getting into some of the songs on here. I know she's worked with Jack Antonoff on her last several albums, and they made some really good music, but I think it's time for her to break off, go with somebody new, get some fresh ideas, and see kind of where they go from there. I mean, it's a good album. I'm sure these things are going to fly off the shelf on Black Friday. And because I think they're available in store on Black Friday, and then the 30th on Saturday they're going to be available on Target's website. So, like I said, they're going to sell through the roof. Then you also got Kanye West and Dolla the Vultures one coming out. This was released back in February. Kanye's third collaborative album. He also did Watch the Throne with Jay-Z. He did Kid See Ghost with Kid Cudi, which is a fantastic album. Kid See Ghost, if you're not a Kanye fan, if you're a rap fan though, definitely check out that album. I absolutely love that. Probably one of my favorite rap albums of the last 10 or 15 years. It's going to run you about $40 online. So this was all self-released by Kanye West through his Yeezy label. It's on 2 LPs. It's on brown and black marble vinyl. This album was met with a lot of really mixed reviews when it came out. And I think some of Kanye's personal antics, I think played into some of that. I haven't listened to this album yet. And I kind of have been avoiding it, even though I know people that love this album. And I've had people tell me, look, if you like Kanye's music, you've got to listen to this album. And I just haven't listened to it yet. I will eventually get around to listening to it. But I was a Kanye apologist for a really long time. And I kind of backed away from some of that. He's said and done some really stupid things. But I've always been somebody that's been able to separate the art from the artist. So that's why I said, eventually I'll get around to listening to this one. I do think it's kind of funny that I started off the episode with a Taylor Swift album and a Kanye West album, considering their history. But you've also got Eric Clapton's Crossroads Guitar Festival 2023 coming out this week. There's a new 6 LP box that they're releasing. It's going to run you about $142 online. So this is all recorded September 23rd and 24th, 2023. They do this, I think it's the 7th time they've done these festivals. And it's all put together to raise money for the Crossroads Center, which is a treatment facility Eric Clapton started back in 1998. There's a great lineup on this album, though. You got performances by Gary Clark Jr., Sheryl Crow, Los Lobos, John Mayer, a bunch of other ones also. It's going to be available on streaming services, so I'll stream that one and check it out. Especially, like I said, $142 is a lot for me. And then you also got the new EP from Tesla coming out. This is All About Love. This is going to be on orange vinyl. It's going to run you about $20. So there's 4 different versions of the one song, All About Love, on here. You've got an electric version, an acoustic version, a live version, and then there's a hybrid mix. You also got 2 additional tracks on here. You got From the Heart and Walk Away. I haven't listened to any of Tesla's new music in the last probably 20 years. I know the band has said this is some of the best stuff that they've worked on in a very long time, but I feel like every band always says that whenever they release new music. But it's another one I'll add to my streaming list this week. So it seems like Tim McGraw's been doing a lot of reissues lately. He got another one coming out this week. This is Everywhere. It was released in 1997. It was his fourth studio album. It's going to be available on white vinyl. It's going to run you about $24 online. So this is the album he released right after his marriage to Faith Hill. He ended up not only releasing one of his best albums, but I think one of the best country albums of the 90s. It would hit number 2 on the Billboard 200. It would sell over 5 million copies here in the US. So he released 6 singles off this album. All 6 of those singles hit either number 1 or number 2 on the Billboard country charts here. It was just a massive album. I think it's still one of his best-selling albums. So you got that coming out. You also got Ekko and the Bunnymen. What Are You Going to Do With Your Life? This was released back in 1999. There was their 8th studio album. It's going to be on clear vinyl. It's going to run you about $33. Celebrating his 25th anniversary. This is all new. They're remastered. So Ekko and the Bunnymen, they're a really great, I guess post-punk is probably the best way to describe their music. But with this album, there's only 2 members of the band that were part of this album. All the rest of the musicians that are on here are all session musicians. The first song they released off the album was Rasta. I think it was the first song I remember hearing from Ekko and the Bunnymen. It ended up being a big hit. I know it ended up being the band's last top 40 hit in the UK. There's also an RSD 2021 release that's getting reissued this week. This is Warren Zevon Preludes. So this came out back in 2007. Like I said, didn't get released on vinyl until 2021 though. It's going to run you about $32 online as a 2 LP release. It's going to be on Cherry Eco Mix vinyl, which I know I've got issues with the Eco Mix vinyl also, but that's a whole separate topic. So after Warren died in 2003, his son was going through his stuff and found like over 120 unreleased demos and outtakes that Warren had stashed away. So he went through and they compiled basically this is a compilation of all the best stuff from those recordings. And I've streamed it a couple times. There is some really good stuff on here. I'm probably going to pass on it this week though, because it is RSD Black Friday and I'm going to spend enough money as it is. So I'll probably wait maybe a couple of weeks. I probably will grab a copy of that one eventually. This is listed as limited edition, but it doesn't say how limited it is. So I really don't know if they pressed 1,000 of these or 10,000 copies of it. So you got that. And then you also got Great White Twice Shy getting reissued. So this came out back in 1989. This hasn't been available on vinyl in a long time. It was, I think, so it was reissued 1990, and then it wasn't reissued again until I think 2012. And those 2012 pressings sell for like $100 to $150. So this is going to run you about $28 online. This, of course, the band's great 4th studio album. I think it's not only their best-selling album, but I think it's their best-known album. I know Great White was one of those 80s hair metal bands, but they had a whole lot of crossover success with this album. Of course, their cover of Once Bitten, Twice Shy was a huge hit. You know, one of my favorite tracks from the later part of the 80s. And then rounding out the list this week are 2 great soundtracks. Well, I guess technically one is a soundtrack and the other one's a score. But the first one's from Reality Bites, of course, from the hit film from 1994. It's going to run you about $24 online. It's a 2 LP release celebrating its 30th anniversary. I love this movie. This is probably I think this is one of the best soundtracks of the 90s. You've got some huge songs on here by The Knack, U2, Crowded House, Lenny Kravitz, a bunch more. The funny thing though, the interesting song on this album is Stay by Lisa Loeb, because she was an unknown artist at that time. She just happened to have Ethan Hawke as a neighbor. He heard the song, took it to Ben Stiller, he put it in the movie, and the rest is history, I guess. It completely changed her life. But, it's one I don't have on vinyl. I definitely need to grab a copy of that. And then the last one is Katey Kid. This is one where it's not a soundtrack. This is actually the score from Bill Conti from the movie. So the movie was released in 1984. I was like 5 years old when this movie came out. I've watched this movie probably at least 2 or 3 dozen times over the years. And like, other than a couple of small parts during the movie, the score really doesn't pop out or doesn't really stick in my head. But, it's going to run you like $38 online. So what you're getting on this, you're getting the full 20 tracks from the movie. There's also 7 additional bonus tracks on here. It's being released through Space Lab 9, which I'm not familiar with that label, but it is an official release. So it's one where I'll read the reviews once this one comes out, because I'm really kind of picky when it comes to scores. I'm more of a fan of soundtracks than scores, unless it's like the Star Wars score or something like that, Indiana Jones, things like big movies that I grew up with or like really known scores. Other than that, I'm kind of picky when it comes to them. So, like I said, I don't know. I'll read the reviews when this gets released. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to grabbing this week. I know it's Record Store Day Black Friday, and most people are only going to be grabbing RSD releases. The record stores I go to, they typically have like a 15% off sale also for non-RSD releases. So we'll see what I end up grabbing. I guess it really depends on what RSD releases I end up getting also. I probably will end up grabbing that Taylor Swift release. I'll stream the Kanye album. I'll stream that Tesla album. I guess with question marks next to a couple other ones. But let me know what you guys are looking at. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.